The Green Bay Packers just got a double dose of good news. We spoke about in yesterday's video how important it is for the Green Bay Packer organization to shore up Elgton Jenkins and Zack Tom. Of course, priority number one for Brian Gutekunst and the Green Bay Packer organization was to get Zack Tom under contract, who is entering the final year of his rookie deal. That dude is just that good. So that was priority number one. We already know that Sean Ryan and Rasheed Walker are entering the final years of their contract deals as well. And Elgton Jenkins is holding out. So it's important for the Green Bay Packers to get everything wrapped up, especially before training camp starts. It is reported by Ian Rappaport and many other sources out there that offensive tackle Zack Tom agreed to a 4-year, $88 million extension with a max value of $92 million. That's a lot of money. The deal also includes a $30.2 million signing bonus, which is the largest among all offensive linemen. Prior to that, there were only two other offensive linemen in NFL history with $30 million signing bonuses. One of them, a former Green Bay Packer offensive lineman, David Bakhtiari. I'm super pumped up for the Green Bay Packers that they do this prior to training camp beginning. It's important that your biggest asset on the team, Jordan Love, is protected. What better way to do that than to shore up Zack Tom, who I feel is one of the better right tackles in the game, right? So how does he stack up amongst other offensive right tackles out there? Well, you've got Wirfs for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's averaging $28 million plus per year. Then you've got Penei Sewell with the Detroit Lions at $28 million a year. You got Lane Johnson signing, I think it was a 1-year deal. He's 35 years old. He's older, but he signed a $25 million deal. Zack Tom's deal is going to be worth around $22 million per average year. So that puts him fourth this year amongst all right tackles out there. And just behind him with the Chiefs, you've got $20 million and then $19 million. I don't think they overpaid for Zack Tom. This is a guy that you're only going to see the market value going up for right tackles out there. You've got the Chicago Bears have a really good right tackle that they're going to have to pay as well. So I think it was a very good contractual structure for Zack Tom and the Green Bay Packers. I'm super excited about it. Of course, then it leaves you questioning, okay, well, what does this mean for Elgton Jenkins prior to all of, training camp starting, all that stuff. Okay, so here's what that means. Okay, so Rob Domofsky of ESPN reported that he's being told that this doesn't impact Elgton Jenkins' situation one way or another. Sounds like the Green Bay Packers are willing to talk with Elgton Jenkins, but possibly not until later in the season, which I don't blame them because he's got 2 years left on his contract deal. And yes, Jenkins, having moved from guard to center, he's wanting to make sure that he's compensated accordingly. But I really love the approach that Brian Gutekunst and the Green Bay Packers are doing, because it's like, okay, you've got to put in the time at center. We need to make sure that you are our guy at center. And of course, he's wanting job security. He's approaching 30s, Elgton Jenkins is. So he's wanting to make sure that his future is secure there. But he goes on to say that it'll be interesting to hear Jenkins' thoughts when he can talk, when we talk with him at camp. Now, of course, he's got to report to camp. Hopefully, Elgton Jenkins does the right thing and doesn't sit out. Okay, so here's what I love about Zack Tom, and this is the double dose of good news. Okay, so you see right here that Zack Tom, here's what he was quoted as saying prior to the deal even getting done. He says, "I don't really think it will do me any good to sit out," talking about, hey, should he sit out for a contract restructure or anything like that. And then his quote is, "I don't think it'll do me any good to sit out. I'm trying not to worry about the contract situation. I'm just trying to do what's best for the team." Wow, what a concept. What a high character dude, because that's not really the road that people take. It's a high road that not many guys out there are looking at the situation saying, hey, listen, the contract deal is going to work itself off. I just need to do what's best for my team, which is reporting to camp and being there for the guys. He goes on to say, being there for the guys, I think that's worth a lot more than the contract situation. That will take care of itself. And it did. It paid off. And so hopefully Elgton Jenkins, so you've got the younger guy in Zack Tom setting a very good example and a high bar for the rest of the team out there to say, hey, listen, the contract deals are going to work themselves out if you guys just do the right thing. Work hard, show up, put in the work. The contracts will work themselves off. Of course, if Elgton Jenkins shows up to camp and he shows himself to be really good at that center position, which we all know he can be, the contract deal is going to certainly work itself off because yeah, Elgton Jenkins is one of the better offensive line in the game, I feel, because Zack Tom, and we're going to go on and read. So let's just keep going here. It says, if I wasn't here, I'd probably be somewhere just not doing anything. I don't know. So, yeah, I want to be here, obviously. So he's just saying, hey, listen, I've got nowhere else to be. I wouldn't be putting in any work. Matt LaFleur had this to say about it. He says, I think he can play any position, talking about Zack Tom. So it has just happened to be the kind of found the home at right tackle. Speaking of where he landed in that position, but I think his versatility is one of those things that makes him special. I think he can play all five, and there's not a lot of guys that can do that. One of those guys that can do that is Elgton Jenkins. But I'd say that he's got the athleticism. I think that he's a very talented football player, and he's played pretty consistent over the course of the last few years. So, talking about Elgton Jenkins and the example of Zack Tom, the younger guy, setting the example for the team. Matt LaFleur is high praising Zack Tom because this dude can play any position out there. He can play all five positions. Another guy that can do that is Elgton Jenkins. So hopefully he heard Matt LaFleur's words and he knows that his hard work is certainly going to pay off. The Packers are going to get that done because you've got Elgton Jenkins, you got Zack Tom as the two staple points. Hopefully, Jordan Morgan is one of those guys that certainly comes in, looks super talented. The Packers, we talked about it in yesterday's video, that they've got some talent in depth there. Even if Rasheed Walker decides to walk or even Sean Ryan and they can't pay those guys, that's okay because we've got some young up and coming talent. You got to shore up the guys that have proven. They've become stars in the league. Elgton Jenkins is one of them, and Zack Tom is a rising star. The Green Bay Packers getting him under contract, and I don't think they overpaid for that. I want you guys to leave your comments letting me know your thoughts there. I'm super pumped up and excited about it, but this is certainly going to have that ripple effect across the NFC North and across the rest of the league. We've already talked about it in Chicago. They've got a very good right tackle there. This means that he's going to be looking to get paid. He's looking to get his due. So I think it's great that Brian Gutekunst to the Green Bay Packer organization, they jumped the gun on it. They saw that the need was going to be there, and kudos to Zack Tom for saying, hey, listen, I could have sat out, but what good would that have done for the rest of the team? What it would have done for me? Because I would have just been sitting here. I want to be out here playing football with these guys. I love it. Leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, go Pack Go.